Krish.
Hey Matt, how you doing?
Yeah, really good. How are you riding today?
Yeah, pretty good. It's pretty beautiful, nice and bright. Doing good.
Yeah, good and bright. How's this setting?
It couldn't be more beautiful if it tried, could it? Really? I mean, it's just so. The mountains over there, it's gorgeous.
I love seeing the leaves in the wind, the tree canopy just moving.
And everything's so green as well. It's like really alive.
Yeah. Hey, how's your internal weather today?
Pretty still, I think. Feeling a little bit tired, but
Okay.
yeah, but not too bad. Kind of, yeah, feeling quite happy. I mean, it's hard not to feel happy in this kind of weather. So
Yeah. So hey, what are you bringing with you today?
So I think so I do kind of some different content creation. I do a podcast. I'm just noticing that the last few weeks life has been really chaotic and I've let the podcast slip. I'm kind of feeling a little bit awkward about that, and I don't know whether that's kind of I didn't make contingency for it, or whether I don't have the passion for it that maybe I could or should. So this kind of maybe how do I get back on track, or do I actually think about letting it go? But it's kind of it's not sitting easy with me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'd like to explore that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So the topic of your podcast and letting it slip, and it seemed your hands were present as you were sharing the topic. What was going on there?
So I think it's like this, trying to find a balance.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I'm noticing that. Yeah, it's almost like I'm trying to weigh things up.
Okay.
I think maybe that speaks to kind of not having a sense of which weighs the more, whatever that means.
So the podcast, balance, weighing up. What would be a good outcome for you from this conversation on that topic?
I think just kind of having a sense of clarity on either how to proceed or whether it's actually something that I do just want to let drop, as it were. Yeah.
Okay. So how to and whether to?
Yeah. Or whether to, or if not, then what would be the next thing to do with it, maybe.
Okay. There's a few things there, isn't there? There's the evaluation, the whether to, and there's the if it's yes, how, and if it's no, then what else? Where should we focus our attention in this 15-minute conversation?
I think maybe on kind of like maybe getting things back on track, because my sense is that I do still have some passion for it.
Yeah.
But I just noticed that because life has been quite hectic, it's kind of gotten off track. I've allowed other things to get prioritised. So it's like, how do I get it back on track, perhaps? And what's the next step with it?
Okay, great. So, great outcome from this conversation, how to get the podcast back on track.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be great.
Very good. And how will you know if we've achieved that in this conversation?
I think I'll have like an internal sense of like a solid next step, or I'll almost like I'm putting my foot down on like a paving stone. Literally, it will feel solid.
Okay.
It's an internal sense, I think.
Okay. So you'll feel solid with the next step in relation to the podcast at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Where's a good place to start with that exploration?
I'm not entirely sure, because like it's like I'm just looking at this, like when I'm looking past you, I'm seeing like these big mountains. It just feels like there's lots of them, so it's almost like, what is it that I've let get in the way, as it were? Those feel like big barriers.
Okay, so the mountains may represent the things that are getting in the way.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. How many mountains are you seeing?
Literally or figuratively?
So with the figuratively to the metaphor that is evolving here.
Probably 3 or 4.
Okay, so you've got 3 or 4 mountains in the way.
Yeah.
How clear are they to you?
A couple of them are like really quite clear.
Yeah.
And actually it's 3. A couple of them are really clear. One of them's a little bit more back. It's like maybe behind it. It's a bit misty. It's a bit less obvious.
Okay.
As it were. So maybe that means it's quite so present in my mind actively.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 of them are clear. One's a bit misty. Yeah. How would you name those 3 mountains?
One is work.
Okay.
One is balance. And one is the one that's kind of in the background is probably home.
Work, balance, home. Which of those carries the most meaning for you?
I think at the moment balance, because it's like I know the work stuff, but it's not so much in the prioritization of the work bit. It's the balance between everything and where the priorities in the whole. So I think balance actually represents like the whole of life, as it were, of which work and home are.
So balance might be the mountain range.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good way of looking upon it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it encompasses kind of everything.
Yeah.
As it were.
I saw you lift a bit there. Yeah. Range.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, I love mountains, so yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How much do you love these 3 mountains in this range, the balance range?
How much do I love them? Well, at the moment, I usually love mountains, but these feel like 3 very big mountains that probably I would love if I had one to scale. But I feel like I've got 3 to scale, and to use a saying that a friend of mine uses, I feel like I'm standing at the base of the mountain in a pair of flip-flops. So I feel kind of maybe not equipped.
Yeah.
Not fully equipped.
Okay.
Feels like quite a big task to deal with all 3.
Yeah. Okay. And I get the sense that you know how to deal with mountains. And that you love mountains.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. What would it take to rediscover or reconnect that love more fully here in this range we're calling balance?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably just to because the mountains aren't, then it's not just one big wall of mountains. As I said, one of them's kind of a bit further behind, and there probably is so I think it probably is take, one mountain at a time, kind of thing.
Okay.
And just focus on which mountain I'm looking at here, kind of thing.
Okay. And I've heard that sort of one's further. Home was the furthest one.
Yeah.
The mistier one is part of the range, and the range is 3-dimensional, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay. So actually, there's this which side? Well, not even side. Is it from what angle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you approach that? Where might that take you?
Yeah, well, I think where that takes me is, it's like there's the mountains, but it's like even with something like Mount Everest, you don't just arrive at Mount Everest and go straight up it, do you? There are different base camps, and you kind of approach it in stages, and it's not necessarily straight up. It might be switching back,
So it might feel like you're going away from the summit, but you've got to go that way to zigzag to,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Because that kind of, when I think about the podcast, I kind of feel like I've zigzagged away from it. But when I actually kind of think about what I might do next with it, I can easily zigzag back towards it because this little bit of time out has brought a lot of material that I can use in the podcast, as it were.
Yeah.
Grist for the mill, if nothing else.
Yeah. I really felt that boom out of your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that interesting thing that you said about like moving away from.
Yeah.
Means there will be a move back towards again at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an interesting shift. I hadn't thought of that. I just thought I was moving away from. And actually kind of seeing that notion of going, zigzagging up. Yeah. It makes scaling the mountain easier.
Okay. So what are we drawing together here?
I think what I'm kind of seeing is I was kind of feeling really bad about, just I've moved away from this kind of thing. But, this kind of, I'm really visualizing this like zigzag up this way, which might be away, and zag up that way, which will be towards. And there might be another away and a towards. And it's like this, it feels less like I'm actually getting this kind of sense of almost like a swing now, or something in motion.
There's a rhythm.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, maybe there's something about following my own rhythm on that, and like with the podcast, for example, doing a few, swing away from it for a few, do a few, swing away for a few, and that'd be okay,
There's an energetic context to that, isn't there?
So a bit more?
The energy of doing some, not doing some, doing some, not doing some.
Yeah. But that feels really, I mean, even that, so rather than it being like a zigzag, life's been really mental, I've gone away from, and like suddenly I've got to turn and go that way, this feels more like it feels more flowful.
Natural, like a natural process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's naturally going to go that way.
Yeah.
And then gravity will bring it back that way, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that almost makes me wonder whether the process of life will kind of just swing me back in. Even now, having the consciousness of like, I need to do something with this. That's pointing me back in that direction of swinging back towards the podcast. If that makes sense.
So, how might we land the learnings from this conversation so that you can create a shift, change, and achieve this goal for yourself?
Well, I think, not tackling all the mountains at the same time.
Yeah. That's
a good start, tackle the one that's in front.
Okay, yeah.
And the fact that the mountain range is called balance, so it's about a holistic thing. And there's just something there I really like, that kind of notion of like being carried by the rhythm. I'm not having to drive the rhythm, it's just naturally. And so I think there's something about the fact that it's in my mind means that I might be at the top end of one swing. And so I'm naturally going to come back in, but also just giving myself permission to know that I might swing back again. And it might be a bit where I step away from it for a little bit, and that's okay, as it were. So it seems like I feel like I'm on the verge of, actually, I've got some stuff to say again. So it's time to pick up the microphone and start recording again.
What have you got in your hand there?
That's a really good question. I feel like I'm swinging. That's funny. I feel like I'm swinging down to grab the mic.
Okay.
It's like swinging down to grab the mic and I'm about to start speaking. Yep, it's back. Got it. Okay, let's talk.
Wonderful.
That's really solid. Actually, it is just like I want the mic now.
Give me the mic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's interesting because I was like, am I going to let it go? It's like, no, clearly not.
Yeah.
So that feels. So I actually feel like I'm swinging back into okay. I'm actually gearing up to get ready to get going on it again, which is interesting because literally just a few minutes ago I was like, am I going to let it go? No, clearly not.
Yeah, we were talking about a mic drop, weren't we?
Yeah. And it's no, it's mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So how does this move into action for you in a very specific way? You talked about that step, the solidity and clarity of that step. Does that connect here? What might that step be?
I think there is something about, sometimes I find the time I'm most inspired with the podcast is when there's a sense of something that's welled up and there's something to say, and I just get the microphone and hit record.
Yeah.
So, and it feels like what I've really got here is this swing, and it feels like this swell of energy, and I can almost feel it here. It's like, you know, maybe this swing away from it has just been collecting material. Maybe it's just been allowing that rising of energy. Yeah, exactly. So it feels like, actually, that feels like a very natural next step. Grab the microphone, set it up, hit record, go. And it feels very organic.
Okay, so what do you want me to check in with you about in our conversation next week?
Yeah, no, great. That would be good. You know, just check in, see what I've done with it. I think just you know, I don't think I want to commit to like recording a number of episodes or something, but just doing it and seeing what happens and just engaging with it again. That feels exciting to me.
Yeah, I want to see where this energy takes you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
It's really present, isn't it? It's like yeah. No, I really like that. That would be great. That'd be really good.
Wonderful. Hey, is that a good place to pause for our work together today?
Yeah, I think it's a really good place. Yeah, thank you. It's been really great.
Good work, man. Good work.
Thank you.